Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is literally just going to be the second part 2, and talking about the defensive players that you should be getting. So for my last video, if you were not able to watch it, I'll go ahead and watch it. It was showcasing the best offensive cards, with there being different categories for price. I had the cheapest cards, or cheap cards, mid-tier, not too expensive, not too much myth, around like, I was trying to put it around anywhere from 100 to 200 myth. I was trying to go between there. And then of course I had the very expensive myth range, but I only uploaded offense because the first time I tried doing the video, I got it all. I got offense and defense in the same thing, and turns out that it bugged, and for some reason like my audio didn't record or whatever, so I got the backup file and then that didn't work. So I decided just to delete that video and start all over again, but I'm not even worried too much about all that. So for the gameplay, you're going to see is the jump start, which for the rewards is just literally the boom tokens. As before we even get there, let me see how many boom tokens. We have 42,000 boom tokens right now. We should have 43, but we had to buy a free safety, which I actually didn't even need to buy them for 1,000, so I wasted it. But I'm not too worried about it, because at the end of the day, I'm going to go for the combine special. I'm going for this pack right here. Psych, not that one. I'm going for, where is it at? The vertical bench, this one right here. I'm not gonna go for any of these common players here. I mean, I already won Brees Hall, so he's already out of the question. Nick Chubb would be probably the one, or Vita Vea, but they might be worth more money than if I pulled, like, let's say cornerback, and that's fine with me because I'm trying to open up the Lego pack in order to pull like an old lineman. I'm gonna pop up a picture of him on the screen, or like a Ayuk or a Kirk. I really would love Kirk and the O lineman, honestly. That's why those two players are the only reason I'm even going for that stuff. But I'm gonna have to clear that out of the video. But yep, so if anybody else is in the same boat, I would recommend going for this legendary pack right here. And I'm at 42k. I'm gonna have 60k pretty soon, so I don't gotta worry about no click rate. So those 1,000 tokens that I missed out on don't really matter. I think I'm all cut up with actually I'm doing it right now, so I'm not all cut up, but I'm gonna do this, and you're gonna have gameplay of the power push is what it's called, right? Jump start, I'm sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying, but yeah. With these ones, I'm just gonna use the auto claim tickets because I don't even feel like playing them like that. But yeah, last video was the offensive cards you should be going for, which I had some feedback on it, and people really seem to enjoy the video and like it. So these defensive one, I feel like is actually going to be even more important. So I put in a little bit more effort, so I am glad I was able to, redo the video and look up the cards one again, because defensive really matters a lot more. As we get 1,000 boom tokens right there, it matters a lot more, and it's literally just because you don't play defense, the computer does. It's RNG, so you need the best cards. And honestly, like with the stats and everything, they're good and everything, but I really, like, just personally, I believe that the more power your player has on defense, the better off your team will be. Which, it is crazy to say, as I'm going to play this, start off the next season, because I'm trying to grind running back points, because I have a lot of, let me show you. How do you get to it? It's on my team, level 64. Yeah, I've been grinding a bit. I have the end points, which is for Myles Garrett. For the next season, I have 23,000, so I should be good with him. Running back, I'm at 8,000. I need to keep grinding him. For conditional points, I have 100, 141 weight room, and 65 film. I'm not sure how many I need. I'm gonna look that up, and I'll pop up a screenshot of what it is to max like CMC or Myles Garrett, a mythical, all the way to level 24, not 25, 24. I'll pop up on the screen, but yeah, I'm trying to do that before week 6 gets here. Right now is week 3, and the player I think is Jesse Bates, but for now, the legendary players and epics and all, they're a little bit too expensive, so I'm not even going for that right now. I'm gonna wait for the event to be over, and if that does happen, then if I pull something, then I'll go for them. But if not, I'm gonna wait for the next week, because this week 3, for some reason, is seeming, as my game is lagging right now, it seems a tiny bit expensive. I'm not gonna wait for all that. I don't know why it's not even letting me do it. There it is. I'm not in a rush, and I don't even want to overspend on anything, because I did end up overspending a little bit for my week 1 player Matabook, because you can still craft them today, and I thought he was going to expire with his crafting abilities, but just his epic and Lego crafting was the things that expired. So not too big of a deal. I mean, yes, I missed out. I probably could have gone for 40 less myths to begin with, but we ain't stressing about it. It's okay. But the part of the video that y'all were waiting for, the defensive players you should be going for. And it's going to be just like last video. So I'm going to turn this down so you don't hear it in the background. It's going to be just like last video. I'm going to have the little graphic, and I hope y'all are able to find someone you do or don't like. But to me personally, the least important position on defense is going to be the D tackle position. So we're going to start off with that. As boom, here is a screenshot of the D tackle graphic I made. As you can see on top, we have Aaron Donald, Jalen Carter, and Matabuk. And in case you're wondering why Matabuk is there, he will be a super high powered, like the highest powered legendary card for the position. Matter of fact, every single player that you craft for the player of the years from week 1 to 12, I don't know how many weeks it will be, but every single player that is the craftable player starts off at 140, so they will automatically be, or almost automatically be, the highest player in their position. So just keep that in mind, because crafting them, I mean, this week 3 is a little, I think it's a strong safety, maybe. It's Jesse Bates something. Either strong or free safety, but maybe that's why he's going for so much more too, because that position doesn't have many players, as you'll see later on in the video. But like week 2 was George Kittle, and there's already a lot of tight ends, so he's literally going for nothing. So just letting y'all know, every single 140 at level 1 player of the year will be a player you might want to go for. But Aaron Donald, as you can see, he doesn't go as much as the other mythicals, and that's because him at max power, I believe, is at 179 overall, and then you got Jalen Carter, who is a 180 overall. He's literally the best D tackle in the game, and he is an epic. And if you're wondering, or if you're new to the game, you're wondering, how's an epic up there with a Lego and a mythical? That's because I don't know when, it's probably around this time last year, the draft promo came out for, the first draft promo came out for mythical, and they had a draft program, I guess. I wasn't around for them, so I'm not too sure. I hope somebody in the comment section who is more of an OG than me will be able to say exactly how it went down. But supposedly, or at least what I get from is, they had draft cards, and I think all of the draft cards, maybe Epic Plus, something like that, they had power boosts that they were going to give the card if they accomplished certain like requirements for the season, like if they had certain stats. And this Jalen Carter, I guess, completed all the stats they had put as a thing he had to complete, and I guess he completed all of them, and he went up all the way to a 180. There's a few other cards. There's a Will Anderson Jr., which we will see later on in this video, and a Witherspoon, as you will also see him later on in this video. They both, I'm guessing, completed all of their requirements, because those are the highest rated draft cards. And you will see that as a theme in this video, that those draft cards on defense, they go for a lot, they matter a lot, they're pretty much mythicals with all the power that they have. But I'm taking too long with this D tackle position, which I even told you that it didn't even matter. So let me go to the mid tier. Also, just like last video, on the right side, I have a little bit of, words that I think matter to each position. So like the ones, I put cheap cards with good power at their max level and are cheap right now. That's how. But if you want to read them and see what I said about each one, you sure can. But middle row, I have DeForest Buckner, Hargrave, and Jones. And also, just like last video, I'm gonna put a little check mark beside the cards that I have had and used, so you know how, if I have personal experience with them and what I'm saying, how much value it holds. But from the D tackles, I've used 1, 2, 3, 4. I've used 5 of these cards. 2 of them are some of the most expensive cards in the game, so not too bad. But Forrest Buckner, I had him for the longest time on my defense. Hargrave and Jones, they're all great cards. But and before I even go any further, I know for offense I had rare cards at the very cheap ones and stuff, but on defense, honestly, don't even go for the epics. If you have to go for the epics, like the very cheap version, go for them, sure. But honestly, my personal opinion, save up a little bit for at least the mid tier every single time, because defense power is king. Trust me, you need the extra power. It's always going to help. But if you pulled one of the bottom cards, or you just have them, it's fine too. But the bottom row, I have Jordan Davis, Kalijah Cansey, and Ed Oliver. And also, with another theme in this video, all the bottom row is going to be pretty much the max epic player I could find for the cheapest amount, because I'm telling you, epics matter, and their power is going to matter. But if you have a little combination of, like, if the rest of your defense is pretty much maxed out, and you put a little bit extra money into, let's say, cornerback, which is a position that matters a bit more, and then you only have so and so for Jordan Davis, like you only had 10 extra myth. Well, go ahead and grab them for the 8 extra myth instead of having like a base card or a rare. That's why I put it there. But also, the position that you should be upgrading on defense, personal opinion, and also what I've read all over Discord on Blitz Brigade. I will also link everything down in the description. But the power, I'm gonna throw up a little video, a little demonstration. Always go for cornerbacks, then strong safety, free safety, then move on to your linebackers, and finally go from D ends and then to your D tackle. In that order. That is the order of importance of the defensive cards. So even though I'm starting out with D tackle, if you're gonna save up some money, or you're trying to upgrade your defense, do not start with D tackle. Start with the cornerback. Start with the secondary, please. It'll save you so much time. And honestly, a lot of those cards are pretty cheap. But this is the D tackles. Let me move on to. I'll move on to the D ends. Let me find the graphic for the D ends. Here they are. As you can see, the most expensive ones. Ooh, 3 mythicals. Yeah, they've dropped a lot of D ends, but as you can also see, at the top I have Myles Garrett, who he still doesn't. He's gonna come out until like like 9 weeks from now. I'm not too sure how long it's gonna be until he comes out, but he's gonna be at the top row. The price, he probably won't be as expensive as Nick Bosa and TJ Watt, but trust me, he's gonna have more power than both of them, because he's gonna also start off as a 155, just like CMC. So this is a card you're gonna want to be going for. Nick Bosa and TJ Watt, they're both amazing cards. That's why they're at the top, because these are the only mythical DNs in the game, and if you got the bucks for them, go ahead and do it. They got power, and they're amazing cards. Middle section, we have good old Von Miller, Max Crosby, and Micah. And I have Micah. Who else did I have? I have Matthew Judon, which is also a good option, just because like every full moon he gives you a plus 10 power, so he ends up going to 165 overall at max. But these 3 cards right here, they're really good mid-level cards. As you can see, they're a lot more expensive than the D tackles, and that's because I don't really know why the D. I mean, actually, yeah, I do know, because the D ends, they have a lot of power. Like you can see, Von Miller has 168. These cards hold a lot of power. So I'm telling you, you want that on the defense. And the cheap cards, I have Reddick, Sweat, and Pierre-Paul. They go up to pretty good stats as well. And if the rest of your team, as I said earlier, is pretty good, and this is the positions that you have to hold off a little bit, you get those epics just to fill something in instead of a rare. But those are the DNs. They are pretty good. They're a little bit more expensive, but it balances it out. Some of the cards like cornerbacks are going to be super cheap, even though they're the most important cards, and then you're going to have super expensive cards like those right there. So it's just it depends. Like obviously, if you see the corner you like and he's one of the max corners, and then you see like let's say you saw TJ Watt for the same price, which you wouldn't, but I'm just saying, like, for example, obviously go for the TJ Watt because it's a snipe, but just prioritize what you want. And honestly, if you like a certain player or a certain card, go for them first. I mean, at the end of the day, this game is just for fun for most people. And if you like a certain card, get them. But let me move on to the linebackers. I'm gonna pop up the graphic right now. Bam, there you go. Top of the cards, we have good old Bobby Wagner, who I never had, but I love Bobby. I'm a Seahawks fan. We have good old Demario Davis, who we unfortunately missed out on during Monday Night Football. But we also have a Will Anderson, and that's one of the examples I was telling you earlier. Another draft card, which at max level he's like a 170. Maybe he is 160. No, I think he's 170. But those top 3 cards, amazing cards. And Demario is cheaper than Bobby. Yeah, he's cheaper. And Will Anderson, honestly, out of those 3 cards, I'm not even gonna say it like that because I haven't used any of them. But just for me personally, who I would go for Will Anderson first, unless of course I found a snipe for any of the other 2 players, because he goes for a little bit less, but he has just about the same amount of power, So keep that in mind. And for my middle row, we have Jack Campbell, Devontae David, and Fred Warner. And I love Fred. I included Fred Warner because you could also include it. You could have had Devin White in there. Could have had a couple other linebackers, but I love Fred Warner. He's been playing on my team, and it seems like every single time he plays, he gets an interception. He's great. Jack Campbell is one of those draft cards again. He's an epic who goes up to like 154 power, pretty good. And Devontae David, he has a lot of power behind him, so he's a little bit more expensive as well. But the cheap cards I have is Campbell, Brooks, and Edmonds. I wouldn't you know, I wouldn't go for none of the cheap cards. I would save up and go for the middle tier because his linebackers, it's starting to matter a bit more. And you can find a pretty cheap Fred Warner. Like if you want a Fred Warner that's not fully leveled up, you can find him pretty cheap. You can also find a Devin White pretty cheap. He's a Super Bowl card. I don't know if there's multiple of them, but also I almost forgot to mention that for all of these cards, pay very close attention to the picture I have up for them, because a lot of these cards have duplicates like in the same rarity, but you want like this Fred Warner. Let's just say, for example, he had like 5 cards. You want the Fred Warner, the Autumn Rush, the one I have a picture on. That's the one you want, because that's the one that has the power and that's the price I'm going for, you know. So please don't mess that up. Like make sure you get the right program that I'm trying to show you. But those are my linebackers, and I'm gonna go to the, I feel like strong safeties is a bit more expensive maybe. They're probably about the same, but let me move over to the good old strong safety position. I think this is a strong safety. I actually could be tripping because they're pretty similar, but damn, we got a safety. Let me see here. Let me pop up the picture. Bam. This is gonna be my strong safeties. We have good old Derwin, one of the most reliable cards in the game. He's been in the game since Autumn Rush, you know, OG card. We have Tyrann Mathieu, who has a ton of power, and Hufanga, who he goes for about the same price as the mid-tier players when they're at their max level. So these are interchangeable. Strong safety, free safety, they fall off, you know, like they don't hold much power after the mythical for some reason. After Tyrann and Derwin James, you know, it goes all the way down. But my mid-tiers are CJ Gardner-Johnson, Peppers, and Poyer. And these cards, you know, they're good. I mean, I have Poyer, who is I think he goes at 154 power, so he doesn't have much power, but I have never really had an issue with him on my defense. You know, he gets interceptions. I never feel like a struggle having him on my team. So I've been having him for a while, and I got a snipe, and also had his Lumi card. Excuse me, by the way. I have the Lumi version of him, so it was a really good snipe that I got, and I just feel like he doesn't cause any trouble, so I would go for him. And the cheap one, I also have, as you can see, I have a Drew Burrow Peppers cheap version when he's also in the middle tier. But Whitehead and Amos, you probably already have. So if you have Amos and you're like, you know, a 2600 power team, keep him on the squad and upgrade cornerbacks first, because he'll hold his ground. He's not bad. And I've had, whenever I play with him, because I needed to play with him during one of the combine events, he got a couple interceptions, you know. I mean, of course, the rest of my defense is pretty much max, but he did his little thing. He didn't struggle too bad, so just keep that in mind. As we're going to move on to free safety, as bam, there it is on screen. Of course, the newer one from the Super Bowl promo, we have Winfield Jr. Great card. Also at the top, there's Jesse Bates. That's who it is. He was a free safety. I was saying a while ago he could have been either, but he's a free safety. He is a week 3 player of the year craftable, so of course he's going to have, you know, I'm not going to clear that. It's just a Snickers pop-up. He, of course, is going to have a lot of power. You know, he starts up at 140, just like Kittle, just like Matabuk, but he's up there for now. He might drop in price. He's just, that 330, the price that you see right there is literally that was on Wednesday, and the marketplace right now is like crashing a little, and some of the stuff's not like being put on there, so I'm expecting it to drop, and the promo hasn't ended, so that price is going to go a lot lower, hopefully. But we also have Buddha up there. For the middle row, we have Quandre, we have Jesse Bates again, but this is a different promo. That's what I mean. Like, you see, the very top one is Player of the Year, and this middle one is Gridiron Standouts. That's how I mean. Like, you know, obviously the top one, the Player of the Year, is going to have a lot more power. Just keep that in mind. And we also have Jimmy Ward. I have Quandre, and like just like I said with the strong safety, you know, I've never struggled. Like, they hold their own, they do their thing, and they're good cards to have on your defense. Plus, Quandre is like 158 overall, so he has a pretty good overall advantage to a lot of things. And now for my cheap section, for my closer to free-to-play guys, for my guys who barely started out the game, I have Justin Simmons, Bynum, and Thompson. They're all pretty cheap. You can get that myth pretty easily. And on top of that, you know, they have a decent amount of power, and they'll get interceptions for you. So don't stress too much. But if you can save up the myth, go ahead and save it up and put it towards you know, mid tier to expensive tier, strong safety, free safety. And now we're finally gonna move on to the position that matters the most on defense, according to me, and according to a lot of the people in Blitz as well. But let me pop up a picture on the screen. Bam, there you go. Cornerbacks, baby. And honestly, this is my favorite position because there's so many options. It's a great position, and it's a great problem nowadays that there's so many options. At least personally to me, because that means you can compete with a bunch of different cards, a bunch of different combinations, and they're all just gonna be there. So at the top, obviously, we're gonna have Pat Surtain and the recent Tariq Woolen. Look at those cards. Does they not look great? Tariq is going for obviously a lot more because it's a little bit newer than Pat. I think Pat might have been one of the first. I don't think he was one of the first. I think Tyreek and Jason Kelsey were some, and also Travis. But you know, Pat is one of the first mythicals that dropped, so I'm always gonna have that kind of sentimental value right there. But those are great corners. Obviously, most of us, myself included, are never gonna be able to, you know, get those players. Hopefully, I mean, one day I get enough subscribers and enough views that I can get monetized and I can put all the money I make into these players, but that's a long way from now. So one can dream, or I can pick up a few extra shifts and put in the work, but you don't even gotta worry about it too much because there's also that beautiful Witherspoon that I was talking about earlier. Another card, he does go for a little bit more than, you know, the middle tier cards, but I don't think you need those top cards. I feel like you can still. Actually, no, I can't say that. Like, to compete, to be able to finish top 100 for another mythical, you need those cards. But to win games by a good amount of PD, just to get a bunch of the Legos and sell it and make some more myth, you just need those mid-tier cards, which is the cards I have. As you can see, I have Jair, Malcolm Butler, and Chris Harris. I've had Harris. I have Malcolm Butler. Right now, I have Malcolm, and who do I have on my other side? Actually, I think I have Chris Harris. I'm tripping. I have Jair as well, but as you can see on the side, and I try to put it according to their team colors, you know, have Ramsey, Sauce, or not the team colors, because Ramsey doesn't play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that's the team that they have on his card. But I'm just trying to be a little cute. But as you can see, there's a lot of options. Ramsey, he's like the card right now for this promo, so he's a lot more overpriced, so I would wait for him to drop a bit more. There's Sauce, there's Warden, there's JC Jackson. JC Jackson might be the cheapest player in the mid-tier list, and honestly, I would go for him. I had him for a long time, and he did amazing next to Chris Harris. Like, I never struggled with him. They got a lot of interceptions, but I replaced him with Malcolm Butler just for the extra bit of power, and Malcolm Butler plays like a beast. I feel like he is the best cornerback you can get for this price range by far. I've never struggled with him. He's amazing, and I love him. And Jair, I had him for a tiny little bit. I sold him almost instantly, but I heard he's pretty good, and I kind of regret not getting him because he does have a lot more power, or not a lot more power, but a little bit more power than Chris Harris. But Chris Harris has insane stats, but as of for now, we're not too sure what stats really do or don't matter on defense. So just look up all these cards in the mid tier and go for the cheap one, you know. Go for the cheapest one you can find because they all play pretty much about the same, at least to me personally. I feel like the only drop off would be like the Ward that I have as an extra suggestion, but the rest of them, they all are pretty much like, you know, 95 plus type of players. Like, they're all great. And obviously in the cheap section, I got Wyatt, Snead, and Forbes. But honestly, and please, don't go for these cards. Like, for cornerbacks, and especially on the defense, go save up the money. Save up the myth and go for the mid-tier players, please. It's going to save you so much stress. And instead of buying this, like the Tre'Davious White for 19 myth, save it up and wait until you have enough to put, you know. Oh, I forgot to mention, but just like in last video, for all of these cards, do not insta buy the card. Like, the cheapest card you see in the market, don't go for it. Put in an offer. And if you don't know what putting in an offer means, or you're newer to the game about that, I'll drop a YouTube short later today, tomorrow, in a few days. Whenever I'll drop a short on how to put in an offer, so you can see how to do it. And I'll probably make an example with like the Malcolm Butler. But with any of these cards, put in offers, please. Like, join the Discord, and we have a whole section dedicated for marketplace, and we ask each other all the time if we know what the what the cheapest offer right now is. But don't buy him just because he seems cheap, unless, like, you know, it is a snipe and you compare it to other things. Get him. But if not, like, if you wanted to get this Malcolm Butler and you see that the cheapest one was 130 myth, put in an offer for like 100 and you might get lucky. Somebody might instant sell it to you. But I'll drop a video, I'll drop a short on how to do the instant sell and how to see how much someone is going for later in the video. But that's going to be corners for you. And once again, go for the mid-tier. Save up your money and go for the mid-tier. It's going to be so worth it. Trust me. Let me see who I'm pretty sure I have Chris Harris. No, I'm just confused and I really want to know. I'm pretty sure I do. I don't think I'm tripping that bad. But yeah, there he is, Chris Harris. But that's going to be it for the defensive side of things. I just have this in the background just so you can see the squad. I haven't had any new updates in a while. I know, guys. I just, I haven't seen any players that are worth updating, especially on defense. I don't see anybody worth it, and I'm just trying to save up for CMC. So don't get too mad at me for not having any upgrades. I'm sorry, but anyways, guys, this video is a little bit longer, than the other video. I went into a lot more depth with this defensive one that did it for offense. Offense, I was kind of rushed. I wanted to get a video out, and I was mad that I was not able to get it out sooner enough. So this video is a little bit longer. I hope y'all got all the way to this point and y'all watched the entire video, but I hope y'all learned something today. As I said, I'm going to drop a short on how to put an offer for y'all newer guys who don't know how to do that. But I have another video coming out soon as well, which is not NFL Rivals. And I dropped a poll a few weeks ago, and people wanted to see Retro Bowl. So I got Retro Bowl. I'm going to do a college version, and I'm going to drop a video on that too. And I think that's going to be a very fun video. It's going to be very different from this one, and I really think you're going to like it. So yeah, just be sure to check in and be ready for a couple other videos being posted in shorts. But anyways, of course, as always, I'm going to thank y'all so much for watching my video. I appreciate the support. We got all the way to like 72 subscribers. We went from 60 to 72 in like 2 weeks. It's clutch. You're all amazing, and I'm glad that this video is getting out there because I feel like there's a lot of information that is good that I post. So I'm just happy to see myself grow, and thanks to y'all is the only reason I'm growing. So once again, I want to appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a great weekend. I hope y'all have a fun time, and I'll see y'all next video. So yeah, have a good one.